All right, welcome back everyone to the deep dive. We're always looking into the latest trends, those health and wellness things that are really making waves. And
Right.
and today's topic is something I think we can all relate to, something pretty fundamental.
Yeah.
It's the idea of eating earlier in the day. We're talking about front-loading our meals,
Mhm.
making breakfast, that mid-morning snack, and even lunch
Mhm.
really count. We've gone through a whole stack of recent articles, research papers, all diving into this idea of meal timing.
Yeah.
And I got to say, what we found is really fascinating. It's not just about what we eat, but when we eat it. That seems to have a big impact on how we feel, our energy levels, and even our long-term health.
Definitely. And that's exactly what we're going to be exploring today. We've got insights from a variety of sources. We're talking everything from the physical development of kids to how well adults focus at work, even how it all ties into our long-term health.
Right. So think of this as your cheat sheet. We're going to break down the science behind eating earlier
Yeah.
and really trying to understand how even small changes
Yeah.
when we eat can make a huge difference in our lives. So let's jump right in, shall we? Let's start with something that, well, if you have kids, you're definitely familiar with this. The importance of those early meals, like breakfast, for their growth and development. Those little ones are always on the go, right?
Always. They're little bundles of energy, and that energy has to come from somewhere, right?
Exactly. So how does eating earlier play into that whole equation of keeping them fueled up and growing the way they should?
Well, the research we've been looking at is very clear on this. It shows a direct connection between eating those early meals and having the energy kids need for, well, everything they do, running around, learning, playing, all of it. And it's not just about calories, it's about the right nutrients too.
Yeah.
You've got your complex carbs that provide that long-lasting energy, your
Yeah.
protein for building those strong muscles, and of course, the healthy fats that are super important for overall development. It's about setting them up for a healthy, active day right from the start.
I see, like giving them the right fuel right when they need it. Now, there's another aspect of this early eating thing for kids that really stood out to me, and that's bone health. I was surprised to learn how much early meals can impact how well kids absorb calcium and vitamin D, the stuff they get from milk and fortified cereals.
Yeah, that's a really important point. What we're seeing is that the body seems to be more efficient at absorbing those crucial bone-building nutrients earlier in the day. It's like after a night of sleep, the body is ready to take in and utilize those nutrients in a really optimal way. And think about it, this isn't just about building strong bones during childhood. It's about setting the foundation for strong bones throughout their lives. It's a long game, helping to potentially reduce the risk of osteoporosis later on.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's like we're giving their bodies what they need at the time they're most ready to use it. And it's not just calcium and vitamin D, right? I mean, the articles also mentioned that this improved nutrient absorption in the morning applies to other nutrients too, which makes sense. After fasting all night, our bodies are ready for replenishing those stores.
Exactly. It's like filling up your car's tank after a long trip. You need that fuel to keep going. And these early meals provide that fuel, not just for immediate energy, but to top off those essential nutrient reserves for the whole day.
I like that analogy.
Mm.
Okay, so we talked about the physical benefits for kids, but let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's important for all of us, no matter what age.
Ah,
Brain power. That mental sharpness that helps us focus, learn, and just be on top of our game. And I think this is something students, professionals, really anyone who uses their brain a lot can relate to.
definitely. And the research on this is really compelling. We've seen study after study showing that skipping breakfast or not eating early enough in the day is linked to shorter attention spans and overall poorer cognitive performance. Our brains are incredible organs, but they're also very energy demanding. They need a steady supply of glucose to function properly, and a well-balanced breakfast delivers just that right when they need it most.
So it's like giving your brain that morning cup of coffee, only it's a healthy, long-lasting energy boost.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just basic concentration, right? I remember reading about how eating earlier can even improve memory and learning.
Yeah, the research suggests that people who eat breakfast regularly tend to do better on tasks involving memory recall and information processing. And this makes perfect sense when you consider that the brain needs a constant supply of nutrients to perform those complex cognitive tasks. Eating early ensures that your brain has those building blocks it needs to learn and retain information effectively.
It's like giving your brain the right tools to do its job right from the start. And, there's another aspect of this that I think is really important, especially in today's fast-paced world, and that's mood. How stable our emotions are throughout the day. Personally, I know if I skip a meal, I can get a little, well, let's just say cranky. Does eating earlier have any impact on that?
Absolutely. The research shows a clear link between stabilizing blood sugar levels through consistent early meals and better mood regulation. When our blood sugar drops too low, we can experience those familiar feelings of irritability, anxiety, even anger. Eating early helps to prevent those sharp drops in glucose, leading to a more balanced emotional state throughout the day.
So it's not just about feeling physically energized, but also
Mhm.
emotionally grounded and less reactive. That's a huge benefit, especially in today's stressful world. So
Mm.
we're seeing all these immediate benefits of eating earlier, but what about the long-term impact? Does building this habit contribute to a healthier lifestyle in general?
It definitely seems to. A lot of the research suggests that prioritizing early eating can be a cornerstone for a more positive and balanced relationship with food in the long run.
That's interesting. But how exactly does eating earlier help prevent us from overeating later in the day?
Mm.
Doesn't it seem like eating more frequently, especially early on, would lead to eating more overall?
Well, it's not about eating more. It's about eating smarter. It's all about appetite regulation. When you start your day with a nutritious meal, it triggers hormonal signals in your body that help you feel full and satisfied. This can help curb those intense hunger pangs that can often lead to unhealthy snacking or overeating later in the day.
So it's like getting ahead of those cravings before they even start. And I can see how this would be especially beneficial for families. If kids see their parents prioritizing a healthy breakfast every morning, it's bound to have a positive impact on their own eating habits.
Right. Kids learn by example. When parents make time for that important first meal, they're modeling healthy behaviors, showing their kids that nutritious food is a priority. It creates a positive environment around food and helps establish good habits that can last a lifetime.
It's about setting the stage for a healthy lifestyle. And it seems like this whole idea of eating earlier encourages a more structured approach to eating in general. The articles mention how it can help people establish more regular meal patterns throughout the day.
Exactly. It's about creating a rhythm for your eating habits, a natural flow that helps to regulate your metabolism and keep your energy levels more stable. This consistency is a key factor in maintaining a healthy weight and just feeling good overall.
Okay, let's dig a bit deeper into the science behind this. Let's talk about metabolism and energy levels.
Mhm.
This is something I know a lot of people are interested in, especially those who are looking to manage their weight or just have more energy throughout the day. How does eating earlier play into this?
Well, eating earlier can actually jumpstart your metabolism. It sends a signal to your body that it's time to wake up and start working. It triggers a process called thermogenesis, which basically means your body starts burning more calories to produce heat.
Oh, wow, I've heard of thermogenesis. So by eating earlier, we're actually telling our bodies to burn more calories throughout the day. That's pretty amazing.
It's a neat little trick, right? And it's not just about burning more calories. Early meals also play a big role in keeping those blood sugar levels stable. We talked about this earlier in terms of mood, but it's equally important for energy. When you eat balanced meals throughout the day, starting with breakfast, you avoid those dramatic spikes and crashes in blood sugar that can leave you feeling tired and reaching for sugary snacks for a quick fix.
It's about creating a sustainable energy source, not relying on those quick bursts that ultimately leave you feeling drained. And it makes sense that our digestive systems would be more active and efficient earlier in the day, too. It's like our bodies are primed to process food when we first wake up.
Absolutely. Our digestion follows a natural rhythm, just like many other bodily functions. It's most active during the daytime hours, especially in the morning. So, eating earlier takes advantage of that peak efficiency, allowing your body to better break down and absorb those vital nutrients from your food.
It's about working with our body's natural schedule, not against it. Okay, let's revisit the topic of cognitive function for a minute. I know we touched on it earlier, but it's so important for daily lives. The articles kept highlighting how eating earlier can lead to better focus and concentration. Was there anything specific in the research that really stood out to you in this area?
One thing that was very consistent across the studies was that people who ate breakfast or had an early meal performed significantly better on tests that measured attention span and memory. This just reinforces how much our brains rely on that early fuel to function at their best. After fasting overnight, they need that boost to get going and stay sharp.
It's like giving your brain a head start. And I remember reading about how eating early might even enhance our problem-solving skills. Is there truth to that?
There is. Some of the research did suggest a link between eating nutritious breakfasts and improved problem-solving abilities. This could be because those early meals provide a healthy dose of nutrients that are essential for brain health, things like omega-3 fatty acids, B vitamins, and antioxidants.
So it's not just about preventing mental fog, it's about actually making our brains work better. And I can imagine that consistently eating early and avoiding those blood sugar crashes would help us make better decisions throughout the day as well.
That's right. When our brains have the fuel they need, we can think more clearly, react more calmly, and make better choices, both big and small. It's like having a mental edge.
All right, let's dive into another area that's becoming increasingly important in our understanding of overall health, and that's our emotional and mental well-being. How we feel emotionally is so closely tied to our physical health. What role does eating earlier play in this?
Well, it's all connected. And the research is increasingly pointing to a balanced breakfast as a key factor in regulating our mood. This is likely because eating early helps to stabilize the levels of certain neurotransmitters in our brains, like serotonin and dopamine, which are crucial for mood regulation. So, by eating early, we might be setting ourselves up for a calmer, more positive emotional state throughout the day.
It's like creating a more solid foundation for emotional resilience. And, I've definitely noticed that if I go too long without eating, I tend to feel more on edge and easily stressed. It sounds like eating early could help prevent that.
Exactly. Those fluctuations in blood sugar that can happen when we skip meals or go for long periods without eating can trigger those feelings of irritability and stress. Eating regularly and starting with those early meals helps to keep those blood sugar levels stable, which can have a huge impact on how we manage stress and react to challenges throughout the day.
It's about maintaining a sense of calm and stability from within. And I even saw some research suggesting that eating early might be linked to greater mindfulness. That's a pretty interesting connection.
It is. It seems that creating a routine around eating, especially eating earlier in the day, can contribute to a more structured and predictable daily routine overall. And that sense of structure can lead to a feeling of groundedness and calm, which are often associated with mindfulness practices.
It's like creating a sense of order, both in our bodies and our minds. Okay, let's address a common myth that a lot of people believe, and that's the idea that skipping breakfast is a good strategy for weight loss. The thinking is that if you eat less overall, you'll lose weight. But the research we looked at seems to suggest that this might actually backfire for many people.
You're right. That's a really important point to clarify. Skipping breakfast, for many people, can actually lead to overeating later in the day. It's like your body goes into starvation mode, and when you finally do eat, you're more likely to overindulge. So instead of creating a calorie deficit, you might actually end up consuming more calories than you would have if you had just eaten breakfast.
So it's counterproductive. And the articles also mentioned that those early meals can actually help us feel fuller for longer, preventing those mid-morning cravings that can lead to unhealthy snacking.
Exactly. Foods that are high in protein and fiber, for example, are known to promote satiety, which means you feel fuller and more satisfied for a longer time. This can naturally help you eat less overall and make healthier choices throughout the day.
It's about making those early calories count and giving your body what it needs to feel satisfied and energized.
Yeah.
And it seems like people who eat earlier in the day tend to make healthier food choices in general. It's like it sets a positive tone for their eating habits throughout the day.
That's right. It seems like starting the day with a nutritious meal can have a ripple effect, influencing your food choices for the better and leading to a healthier dietary pattern overall.
It's about creating a positive momentum. All right, let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. What are some of the long-term health benefits that are associated with consistently eating earlier in the day, beyond just weight management?
The research points to some pretty impressive long-term benefits. One major one is a potential reduction in the risk of developing heart disease, including conditions like high blood pressure and high cholesterol.
Wow, that's a significant finding. It makes sense considering the positive impact on blood sugar regulation and metabolic health that we've been discussing. What other long-term benefits did the research highlight?
Another exciting area is gut health. It seems that a well-balanced morning meal can contribute to a healthier gut microbiome, which is the collection of all those good bacteria that live in our digestive system. And we now know that a healthy gut microbiome is linked to all sorts of positive outcomes, from better digestion to a stronger immune system.
And with the growing understanding of the gut-brain connection, that link back to mental well-being really comes full circle. Were there any other long-term health benefits that stood out in the research?
Yeah, the research also suggested that eating earlier in the day might be associated with a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. This is likely because early meals help to improve and maintain insulin sensitivity, which is essential for keeping blood sugar levels in check.
It's all about setting ourselves up for long-term health. And, this whole concept of eating earlier just seems to fit so well with our natural body clock, our circadian rhythm. The articles talked about how eating earlier aligns with this natural rhythm. Could you explain that connection a bit more?
Sure. Our bodies operate on a natural 24-hour cycle called the circadian rhythm, which influences a whole range of bodily processes, including our digestion and metabolism. And it seems like our digestive system is most efficient during the active part of our day, which includes the morning hours. So eating earlier aligns with this peak in digestive function, allowing our bodies to break down and absorb nutrients more efficiently.
It's like syncing up with our body's natural schedule. And I also read about a potential connection between eating early and getting better sleep. Sleep is something that a lot of people struggle with, so any positive impact on sleep is definitely worth noting.
Absolutely. Research suggests that late-night eating can disrupt our natural sleep patterns, while prioritizing early meals seems to support a more regular and healthy sleep cycle. So eating earlier might be a natural way to improve our sleep quality.
It's all connected. And it seems like our hormones play a big role in this optimal timing for eating as well.
Definitely. Our bodies have a natural rhythm for releasing digestive enzymes, insulin, and other important hormones involved in metabolism. Eating in the morning syncs up with this hormonal flow, making it easier for our bodies to process and utilize the food we eat.
It's about working in harmony with our bodies, not against them. All right, let's get practical for a minute. I'm sure some people listening are thinking, this all sounds great, but I'm just too busy in the morning, or I'm not even hungry when I first wake up. What are some common obstacles to eating earlier, and what solutions do the articles offer?
Yeah, time constraints are a big one. A lot of the articles recommended planning ahead and preparing some easy grab-and-go breakfast options. Things like overnight oats, yogurt parfaits, or even hard-boiled eggs can be prepped the night before, making it super easy to fuel up in the morning.
It's about having those healthy options ready to go when you need them. And what about those who just don't feel hungry first thing in the morning?
Well, for them, it might be about starting small and choosing nutrient-dense options that are easy to digest. A smoothie packed with fruits, veggies, and protein, or a handful of nuts and a piece of fruit can be a great way to ease into breakfast and gradually adjust their hunger cues over time.
It's about listening to your body and finding what works for you. And what about families with picky eaters? That can be a challenge any time of day.
Absolutely. The article suggested offering a variety of healthy choices, getting kids involved in meal planning and preparation, and making gradual changes rather than trying to overhaul everything overnight. Sometimes just presenting familiar foods in a fun or different way can make a big difference too.
It's about making it fun and engaging. All right, this has been such an enlightening conversation. So to wrap things up, what are the key takeaways about the power of eating earlier in the day that you want everyone listening to remember?
The bottom line is that prioritizing those early meals, breakfast, that mid-morning snack, and lunch has a profound impact on our well-being. It's about setting the stage for a healthy and productive day, both physically and mentally. It helps us fuel our growth, enhance our focus, stabilize our mood, and even potentially reduce our risk of developing chronic diseases later on.
And it's not just about when we eat, but what we eat, right?
Absolutely. The real magic happens when we combine that early eating with a focus on nutrient-rich foods. Whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, fruits, vegetables, the whole shebang. It's about giving our bodies the best possible fuel at the time they're most ready to use it.
It's about creating a synergy between timing and nutrition. So to everyone listening, I challenge you to think about this. How might making a conscious effort to eat more consistently and nutritiously earlier in the day impact your life, your energy levels, your focus, your mood, your overall health? It's an experiment worth trying. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was great having you.
You too.
And to all our listeners, until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
See you next time.